You know, kids, I used to be kinda normal.
Oh, tell us, Grandpa.
Yeah, way back in 2019, your good old grandpa was still untainted by the brain rot y'all know me so well for. It wasn't until later that year that I was irreversibly ruined. Yeah, your old pops was interested in something called live streaming. Nowadays, you kids probably don't even know what that is. It was a way for people that had no other skills or social groups to just let people watch them from all around the world, and the coolest part was, it was live. It's a shame Emperor Bezos shut it all down after the Great War. He kept his most profitable businesses and put all the money towards his military. Such a shame, that piece of
Grandpapa, don't be mean.
Sorry, your Gramps always has been a rambler. Where was I? Oh yeah, live streaming. There was this young lad named PewDiePie. Y'all are too young to remember him, but he was on top of the world at one point. The online video world, that is. And I loved him at the time. He was so popular, in fact, that a small startup live streaming site called DLive paid him the big bucks to get him to stream on their site. Naturally, being the fan that I was, I checked it out for myself. Since Pewds was never live, I decided to scroll through and see what other people were up to. I really enjoyed Minecraft, so I looked up Minecraft streamers. I stumbled upon this one kid named Fredward, and up to this point, he was the funniest person I'd ever met. Now, keep in mind your old pops was still normal at this time, and the extent of my friend's humor was just mildly untamed jokes. But let me tell you, I can't even tell you youngins what this freak was going on about. I did love it though. For a couple months I watched this weirdo, became friends with him, met his friends, and it was awesome. Then one day he started streaming on this other Minecraft server with an Italian feller named Toyu. After some time, I finally joined the same server and played alongside them. I bet you guys didn't know I used to know Fundy, huh? Yeah, sure, he turned out to be an evil overlord, took over half of Europe and committed atrocities man had never seen before, but he used to be an alright guy. On that Minecraft server, he was actually the guy that gave me my very first Elytra.
Vó, Grandpa. He didn't know you used torrent out with a communist.
Now don't get it twisted, kiddos, your grandpa ain't no commie. Didn't even like the guy, I swear. I was only there for Fredward and Toyu. Anyways, after some time I joined Toyu's Discord server and worked up the courage to start talking there.
Grandpa, what is Discord?
Oh, it's just an old messaging app from before we could all just talk to people in our heads. It's not that important. What is important though is that I started making some great friends in that server. Yeah, Toyu was a cultivator of a funny audience, and these people were the ones that caused my brain rot. I wouldn't trade it for the world though. These people are the reason I am who I am today. I was there for nearly every single Toyu stream. Every moment of them, from DLive to Bezos' very own Twitch. Yeah, that chat was only 30 or so members full, but we made up the voices of millions. I swear up to this very day, I still have never laughed that hard in my life. Yep, the happiest times of my life were in those streams.
Vô, so why are you depressed nowadays?
Well, don't get me wrong, the depression comes from the fallout after the war. Living through that would be traumatic for anyone. But I will admit I was quite sad when Toyu finally croaked from old age. But back then, all he had was streaming. Everyone was locked away in their homes, so we had plenty of time to watch him waffle on for hours. Even after the streams, I would just talk in his Discord server all day long. It was all I did. Dare I say I was his biggest fan. You know, I used to be terrified of something as simple as talking on a call with somebody. You know what got me out of that fear? Toyu's community. One of the other viewers was sad and I asked if she needed to talk. I sucked up my fear, joined that call and unmuted for the very first time. I hated my voice. I thought people would mock me or something. But actually it turned out other people kinda liked it. Had I not cared so much for his community, I don't think I would have taken that risk.
Wow, Grandpa. That is a vesome. We are proud of you.
Let me tell you, some of the friends I made thanks to Toyu changed my life for the better. I used to be kind of mean, and that's not something I want to get into with you kids, but your old pops used to be a very sad individual. I lost plenty of friends, but with each loss I learned something. I cared about those people so much that I finally started putting effort into myself. I felt like I had something worth the effort, a community to call home, people that made me happy every single day. Yeah, I learned right then and there that I wanted to be the best me that I could for the people around me. I wanted to be the guy that made my friends laugh. I wanted to be the distraction from people's problems. I wanted to be like Toyu. Eventually, that weird kid from before started a Minecraft server called Simp Love, and I was invited. I have no idea why, it still beats me to this day, but I assume it was because I'd befriended so many people in these communities. The catch was that you had to be live streaming in order to play on the server. It was an original idea never done before. However, your old man was no streamer, but I was inspired by Fredward and Toyu so much that I decided to give it a shot. Thanks to my relative popularity in the communities, I actually had a pretty good start. I was finally achieving my dream of making jokes and having people laugh at them. This went on to be something I did off and on for years. Some of my proudest moments came from it. Maybe Pops will show you some clips when you're old enough. At some point, I decided to make a Minecraft server of my own with some of the people I met in Toyu's community, and let me tell you, that was the best decision I've ever made. For several months, I spent my entire life on that server. My respect for those friends went through the roof after truly experiencing firsthand how funny they were. Let me tell y'all a short little story from the server. So, in the beginning, as they say, I made the Fox Den. It was a cute little hole in the ground with a lake in the middle, a bridge crossing it. Several of us folks built ourselves little homes inside the walls of the hole. Then the other group of fellers built themselves a home far out in the distance as well. Their little settlement was known as the SDR, Satanic Dictatorship of Romeo.
Reminisce.
Yeah, that's right, kids. But they were no normal commies. They were the funniest sons of guns I've ever met in my life. Their leader was known as Romeo, one of the most chaotic and funny individuals I've ever met in my whole life. After a while, though, the appeal of the SDR became too much. Some of the members of the Fox Den became traitors and left me for the SDR. As a result, I started a war with them, going as far as to steal their beloved horse, a religious symbol to them, if you will, Abdul Karim. Funny story about that, actually. I stole that horse, rode it all the way back to the Fox Den, and guess who was there? None other than one of the most active members of the SDR. I even stopped and talked to him, and they didn't even notice the horse I was riding. I shoved it into the vault behind my home and hid it under the ground. During negotiations with Romeo, we had a meeting right above where the horse was, and he never even suspected a thing. Poor guy was so oblivious I probably could have stole the nose right off his face. Nevertheless, after refusing to return Abdul Karim, the meeting was ended. A day or so later, I went back into my vault where I saw a chest waiting for me. Naturally, I opened it, curious of its contents, but to my surprise, that there was no normal chest. That puppy was trapped, and the floor to my vault was blown to smithereens. However, due to no other explanation than the holiness of Abdul Karim, the horse was unharmed. Soon after, your old pops had to admit to losing and return their beloved horse. It's hard to convey the excitement of the server through storytelling, you really just had to be there. But I see this as the culmination of all the friendships I found through the community Toyu had cultivated, and I'm thankful to have gotten to experience it. Years later, due to people growing up and getting jobs and such, those friendships faded. A few stuck around, however, and I loved them dearly. My life would never have been as good as it was without them. Yeah, I owe a lot to Toyu. Even years later, I still helped him with some very much unprofessional advice with his YouTube channel. I wasn't the best at it, but it still gave me a sense of importance. I'm thankful he stuck around in my life for as long as he did. If it wasn't for the propaganda, I think our friendship could have happily survived for many years. Unfortunately, he fell to the other side, later becoming Fundy's servant. It's an embarrassing tale, but I still love him regardless. As for that weird cat Fredward, nobody really knows what happened to him. There were rumors that Toyu had him executed after not finishing a video on time, but nobody really knows to this very day. Moving along though, years later, fighting on the front lines in hand-to-hand combat since firearms were banned in the military in 2046, I saw that sneaky Italian hiding in a bush, ready to pounce. I knew instantly who that feller was, and all the memories came pouring back to me. Yeah, I'll never forget the first day I tuned into one of his streams. Dropped a fair-ass $50 donation to him. It's crazy to think that back then, $50 was about 6 hours of work, and I just gave it to him, a complete stranger. Upon finding out that he puts his milk in the bowl before his cereal, I severely regretted it, but in the years following, I found comfort in it. Boy, let me tell you, every day I was in his chat, I felt important, like I was finally an important piece that could add a bit of entertainment into somebody's complex puzzle of the day. Everyone in his chat felt that way to me. Truth be told, I can't tell you whether it was Toyu I loved so much or if it was my love for the community. Either way, he brought us all together, and for a couple years I was very happy as a result. I've already told y'all how much I love these people, but I really can't express what this community did to me. I finally felt like somebody. I felt like an important character, someone people loved. I'll always be nostalgic of that, and I will always be grateful. I went on to take a lot of inspiration from Toyu, and in my streams, I tried to bring the energy his community loved into my own content, because that's what made me happy. I kept giving up and getting burnt out, but it was always my dream to do what he did for us. Someday I might tell you kids about how I finally made that dream come true, but I've already rambled too much for the day, and this old man is tired. There's so many stories to tell, ones I'll never forget, but if this old man falls over and dies tomorrow, just remember that my life was made better by that man, and I'll die having experienced a dream I had since I was as young as y'all. Now go fetch Grandpappy Nin their medicine. I just realized I'm schizophrenic.
Ok, Grandpa. Teleports away. We love you, Toyu. Happy birthday, you strange Italian man. Vamos, goodbye.